So I've been using the S24 Ultra since its released, and as an iPhone user, I may be converted. It could be to do with its beautiful screen, the incredible battery life, or the dozens of cameras on the device as well. Let's start off by talking about that screen. Honestly, it's beautiful. The colors are perfect and everything is perfectly crisp. The screen is nice and bright when it needs to be, and also dim when it needs to be, which is really important for me. There's actually been a few times that I've been outside and I've turned the brightness down because the screen is so bright. And when I wake up early in the morning and don't want to be blinded by the display of my phone, thankfully it goes really dim without it looking like it's turned off. Now the screen on the S24 Ultra is big. Now you probably already know whether you prefer big screens to small screens, but I'm definitely of the latter. So going from my iPhone 14 Pro to the S24 Ultra was actually a big change for me. And it's a change that I never really got used to while using the S24 Ultra. It just feels a little bit more awkward to hold in the hands. Now you can enable things like one-handed mode. However, I didn't really like this in practice as it just felt like an extra step to use my phone. It also just felt like I couldn't use my phone one-handed without the dread of feeling like I was going to drop it. Now obviously the screen is bigger. However, I didn't really feel that much of a benefit when watching YouTube videos, which are 16:9. As you can see here, we've got black bars on both the Ultra and on the iPhone. And while there is a difference, it's honestly not that much. You get a little bit more at the top and bottom, but it's not like it's transformed my watching experience to, say, like an iPad. Now your mileage may vary depending on what content you consume. If you watch a lot of vertical content like TikTok, you will obviously get that benefit. Now the only thing I would add to the S24 Ultra is maybe an alert slider similar to what OnePlus have done. Now another thing that the S24 Ultra has is obviously the S Pen itself. Now the S Pen is cool, and I was actually quite excited to have a phone with an S Pen again. However, in actual daily use, it never really came out the phone other than to just show friends that it had a pen inside. Definitely can see the benefit of using this as a remote shutter, and I like the idea that it actually just lives in the phone itself. I think the one thing I would say there is there's no downside to having the S Pen. It doesn't seem to suck any battery life out of the phone, so there's no harm, no foul. Now talking about battery life on the S24 Ultra, it's obviously one of its massive strengths. I could easily get 2 days out of the phone without any trouble. Now I got 2 days out of the battery life while the screen was in full HD mode. And then once I changed it to quad HD mode, I could easily probably get 1.5 days out of it. However, what's nice about this is that in a few years to come, even if the battery health has dropped to say 80%, you're still going to be able to get a full day's use out of it. Something that can't be said for the iPhones. Another thing that the S24 Ultra has that my iPhone 14 Pro doesn't have is super fast charging. This means it can charge itself at 45 watts, which if you forget to charge your phone during the night and need a top up before leaving the house, you can easily just top up to say 65% battery and have enough to get out the door within say half an hour. And I think it's worth being said that 65% on the S24 Ultra will easily last a full day. The cameras on the S24 Ultra are honestly very good. What I will say to that is that all cameras on phones nowadays are excellent. You can't really go wrong with any flagship phone nowadays. So there wasn't a huge difference between, say, this phone and my iPhone 14 Pro. Now, while I do prefer the images that come straight out of the Pixel 8 Pro, that doesn't mean that I dislike the photos that came out of the S24 Ultra. I also do think the hardware that they've got here is far superior to any other phone. Now, the next thing that I want to move on to is the fingerprint reader. The fingerprint reader is definitely going to be one of the things that I miss most. It's fast and reliable, and it's just a lot easier to use as you don't have to actually look at your phone before it unlocks. I think what I appreciated most is the fact that you've got redundant unlocking methods. So you've got face unlock when you need it, and you've also got the fingerprint reader when you need that as well. One thing I noticed about moving from iOS to Android is that the widgets are just far superior. For a start, there's just a lot more of them. On iPhone, there's still a few apps that just don't have widgets altogether, whereas the same apps on Android do. Also, the widgets are just a little bit different. Rather than being confined to a square like they are on the iPhone, they're a lot more free to do what they want. This means you can get a completely different look, and if you're like me and prefer stock Android, you can make your device look like that as well. That's not even diving into launchers or all the other things you can do on Android. Now, I've always said that I prefer stock Android. However, I have to hold my hands up and say I think One UI has won me over here. For a start, you have all the features that you could ever want. Everything that's on my iPhone that I thought was a special feature is built within One UI. Then there's other things that just aren't available on, say, a Pixel 8 Pro. For example, if I'm in an app, I can swipe over from the side and just bring up this bar, then add another app and multi-screen straight away. Now, occasionally there'll be a feature that hasn't actually come to Samsung. So something I use on my iPhone all the time is Spotlight, where I can just swipe down from the screen and search for any app. Thanks to it being Android, you can find an app for that as well. One I use is called Pixel Search, which basically you can search through your whole app library directly from this widget. Now, it wasn't all perfect. Why, when I'm paying £1,250 for a phone, does it come pre-installed with Facebook? Now, I understand that you can uninstall or hide these apps, but it's just annoying. Basically, Facebook have just paid Samsung a large sum of money to pre-install their apps on all of their phones. Now, while it's not the same, it comes down to the same principle as them not including a wall charger in the box. They say it's to reduce the size of the box so they can fit more on a shipping container, blah, blah, blah. However, when ours arrived, it was a box within a box that could definitely fit a wall charger in. So basically, it's just Samsung being able to now charge you for that charger that they used to include for free. Now, on that point, Samsung and Google are sort of competing in the same area on a lot of apps. So often there'll be two apps, one from Google and one from Samsung. Thankfully, if you do choose Google, you can just set it as the default. There's no extra level of effort required. This is perfect for me as I tend to use the Google ecosystem, so there was no issues for me here. Now, speaking of Google and Samsung, they actually came together for Galaxy AI, which was essentially all Samsung talked about at the launch of this phone. Now, I did play around with the AI backgrounds and the circle to search, which all worked fine. However, in my day-to-day life, I can say that I pretty much didn't use this at all, other than the people that had seen the ads on TV of circle to search and wanted to see it in action. This was one of the first things my dad asked to see when I showed him the S24 Ultra. It's kind of funny how the rest of the world has sort of conceived this feature as groundbreaking and the reason to have an S24 Ultra. And it's by far not the most impressive feature of this phone. I also did try call screening as well on this phone, which is something my iPhone completely lacks. However, it is important to note that when I did try and use it, the doctor just actually hung up on me rather than speaking to a robot. So I think this has got some improvements to come before it will actually be used in your day-to-day life. It's also important to note that Samsung are bringing a bunch of these Galaxy AI features to the S23 Ultra as well. So if you have one of those phones, no need to worry. Now, this leads me onto my next point. Samsung and Google are going to support this phone for 7 years to come. This is great, and it was always something that bugged me about Samsung phones in the past. I was someone that had a Galaxy S3, and I was super annoyed that even 8 months after getting the device new, it wasn't supported by Google or Samsung anymore. Overall, I've been very impressed with the phone. I think it's made me see that if I were to change from iOS to Android, I think I'd end up with a Samsung phone. So, have I been converted from iPhone to Samsung? In short, yes. I've absolutely loved this phone, and during my next upgrade cycle, I really will be considering a Samsung device. And if you've enjoyed this video, remember to give us a like and subscribe as well.